Hey, I am Lori Dottie, and thanks for joining me on Grit and Grace. Today, I want to talk a little bit about something that we do as really high achieving, busy, driven women who are successful. In a lot of areas of life, we have taken the bull by the horns, set goals, and achieved them. And in some ways, I think the fact that we're like that and we've accomplished so much makes it more difficult for us to face perimenopause and menopause successfully. And when I say successfully, I mean face it in a way that we either manage our weight and our health, we manage all of the sort of, symptoms that we're struggling with when we start getting into perimenopause. And that can be night sweats, it can be hot flashes, it can be brain fog, it can be the unregulated emotions, the digestion issues, the anxiety, the potentially the depression, the aches and the pains and the soreness, the belly fat, like all of those things. If you have not successfully navigated this path and you're not in a place where you can say, okay, I look good, I feel good, I have, faced that menopause demon and I have beaten that bitch down. If you can't say that, then this episode is definitely for you. Because I think those of us who have an ongoing struggle with overcoming those menopause issues, and when I say ongoing, I'm like, if you are struggling, up to a year or even more than a year, and the weight is still creeping on, you're still really emotional and dealing with like what's going on with me and trying to figure it out. That's an issue that I think comes from, in part, ironically, from us being so successful. And here's what I mean by that. I talk to you guys all the time. Like, you listen to the podcast, you reach out to me, you follow me on social media, you DM me, and I get on phone calls and Zoom calls with you all the time. I talk to women literally almost every single day. And there are women who are struggling with these issues and they are inquiring about my help. Here's one of the common patterns that I find, and I think is part of the root issue for why you are continuing to struggle. Of course, it has to do with you lacking the right approach for the body that you have now. Of course, it is rooted in the hormonal imbalances and the crazy metabolism not working for you. And so you need strategy. But at the core of all of that, and why you have not found the answer and implemented it, is that, like everything else you do in life, you research it to death. This is one reason, one thing I find that you do wrong. You research it to death. You read everything that you can get your hands on, and you never make a move on doing something. And, there is the argument to be made that, well, you need to have enough information to make a decision. Totally true. But how long are you going to overthink it, girlfriend? I mean, it is better to have made a decision, realize that that's not exactly the right decision, and change course than it is to never make a damn decision in the first place, right? How long are you going to put it off and use the excuse that, well, I need to research more, I need to read more? All that does is put off the decision, like I said. Another thing that it does, though, is the more you read, the more you realize that there is no one right answer out there. You're going to find people who have different opinions on what is happening with your body. They're going to put those opinions forward as if they are fact. And there's going to be a lot of controversial information, and there's going to be a lot of wrong information. You need to find you someone you trust hang in there a little while, long enough that you're like, okay, yeah, my gut tells me that this is solid, credible person, solid, credible information, and then make a damn move. Like, ask for help. Take advantage of whatever it is that they have. If they have, a paid program, or they have a mentorship, or they have, whatever it is, like, make a move and do it. Sitting back on the sidelines and going, I'm going to keep collecting information, is not going to get you anywhere. You're going to continue to stay stalled out. That's a big part of this whole, like, I need to continue to research it. No, it doesn't. That puts you farther behind, and it gives you decision fatigue. It's like, now I've got so many balls in the air, I don't know which one of them to catch, right? Another thing that I think happens at this point is, consciously or not, okay, so you don't get offended. I don't want anybody pissed off at me and sending me hate emails or direct messages, but I'm gonna be blunt with you, right? Like, you come here, you're gonna get it straight. I think that is just an excuse. That whole, I need to think about it, I need to research more, I need more information, is just an excuse, and it is a way for you to avoid taking action. Now, that may not be all of you, but it is definitely many of you. And I say this from talking to literally thousands of women. And I can go through and I can kind of classify all those conversations and what I'm seeing in those people. And one of the big ones that I see is that you're avoiding making the decision. Now, you can be avoiding it for a number of reasons. You can be afraid. You can be afraid that whatever I do is not going to work, and I'm going to feel bad once again, or I'm going to feel like, I've wasted more time, I've wasted more money, I've been disappointed again, I can't take the disappointment of it. You can say all of that, and that may very well be part of why you're avoiding making a decision. But I want you to think about how crazy this sounds. I'm afraid the decision will be wrong, so I don't make a decision at all. In either one of those choices, you're not solving the problem. If you don't make a decision at all, you're not getting anywhere towards solving your problem. If you make the wrong decision and you don't get your problem solved, okay, you don't get your problem solved. And this is worst case scenario, right? You don't get your problem solved in that step. But what you do know is that wasn't the right choice. Now I go a different direction. At least you're making progress toward a solution. Sitting there avoiding the decision doesn't do anything for you. And I think, honestly, deep down inside, there's a little fear underneath a lot of that that keeps you from moving forward. Honestly, too, I really do believe that there's some comfort in avoiding all of this for you. You've gotten to a place where, yeah, it's not comfortable to get up every day and be distraught about what I'm going to wear, or feel defeated when I try on 4 different outfits in the closet. That's not comfortable. But I'm talking about on a deeper level, not just that surface level of the momentary upset that you have in your closet. I'm talking about the safety that you feel from doing the same thing and not having to change it. There's a safety in that, and you're hiding behind it. If I get up today and I do the same thing that I did yesterday and I don't change any of that, I can at least rest assured that I don't have to do anything different. I know this story. I can follow these lines. I can recite them every single day. And yeah, there's some comfort in that you're hiding behind. Now, ultimately, is that comfortable? No, it's not. And that's where you have the fall into the black hole of, you get really, really upset and you get wound up about it and you get depressed. And then you don't make a decision and you kind of pull yourself out of that. And right now, we're in a cycle where I'm seeing, from conversations that I'm having with women, I'm seeing kind of a split. Many of you are saying, okay, enough is enough. We're leading into the holidays. I am not going to let 2023 end without taking action. And you are jumping in. We are having conversations. I can't even tell you, oh my gosh, like 11 women in the last week to week and a half have enrolled in our 12-week metabolic resuscitation system coaching program. And they are like taking the bull by the horns and doing something about it. There's that group of you. Then there's the other group that I'm seeing. And I like this time of the year always brings up kind of this split in people. The other group are those of you who are saying, okay, like the holidays are coming and you're kind of riding on the high of that, and you're allowing the busyness of winding up things at the office, or if you're in education, winding the semester down. You're hiding behind the busyness and the hustle and the bustle of needing to, shop for presents and make the flight arrangements to go see family. Or if you're hosting parties for friends and family, you're hiding behind the I have all these things to do kind of thoughts, right? That is giving your brain something else to focus on, so that once again, you can avoid facing the emotional and the physical discomfort of what's happening with your body. You can stop yourself from having to lean into that misery. But make no mistake, that misery is going to be there, probably even stronger after the holidays and into the new year. When the holidays die down and when life kind of gets back to normal routine again, that's when I worry about that group of you who are sitting there hiding behind that busyness, like I said, because you're going to crash. And I'll be here when you do, but there's a real burnout component to living in that cycle. And some of you have been doing it for years. You've let the holidays derail you and kind of, put that decision about your health and your wellness on the back burner. Then, we move into spring and it crops up again as we start to get into warmer temperatures, and you start thinking about pulling out the shorts and the short sleeves, and that makes you uncomfortable. But then, whether it's kids coming home from college or whatever it is, that time of year, again, we kind of go into this busyness, and then it's summer. And then, so that kind of detracts your attention for a little while. So it's this constant up and down cycle throughout the year of you thinking about it, focusing on it, and then hiding from it again. Thinking about it, focusing on it, I've got to do something, and then hiding it again. And every time you do that, season after season, busy phase after busy phase, year after year that are piling up for some of you, every time you do that, the crash gets a little more intense. The realization of how much weight you have to lose gets a little more intense. And then some of you will go to the doctor, and the doctor will tell you that your cholesterol levels have gotten way out of control, or your blood pressure is high and now you have to be on meds, or you're having some really intense, even more intense menopausal kinds of issues. Your scale number continues to go up. The pants that fit you last year aren't fitting you this year, and you bought those last year because the ones from the year before didn't fit, right? You see what I'm talking about? So every time you do that, the crash gets a little harder. And before you know it, you're one of the women who's on the phone with me who has 50, 60, 75 pounds to lose. And you're telling me, I don't know how I gained 60 pounds in the last 6 months or the last year. I don't know how it happened. It feels all of a sudden. When in reality, if you look back at the cycle, it hasn't been as all of a sudden as it feels. It's actually been compounding slowly, but every time you tuck it away in the back of your mind again and you avoid that decision, you blind yourself to the reality of what's happening. And ergo, that cycle. And now you're at a point where you're so miserable that you are in utter tears at the drop of a hat. And that is, I don't say that to be, hateful about it or ugly about it. I just think, and I don't mean to be Debbie Downer right here before the holidays either, but I think I owe it to you to tell you about these patterns that I see. And what I see really successful women like you doing and how detrimental it can be to you long term. I owe it to you, like, to be honest with you about it, right? So I will end with this. Don't let your high achieving nature be a weakness or a detriment. Let that be a positive. Let it be a strength. Let it fuel you toward making a logical, albeit sound decision, but making a decision. Reach out, whether it's to me or someone else you're following on the internet or that you have looked into that you feel has a kindred spirit to you, is someone that you can open up to and have a relationship with in the coaching relationship sense or mentor relationship sense, someone that you feel that you can lean into and trust to help you, and someone who has an approach, a strategy, a complete system that you can put in place. Now, you're not going to know without a doubt, 100%, you're not going to be certain that it's going to work for you until you do it. So stop looking for that thing that you can be 100% about. These are odds. It is not an absolute for sure. But I will tell you this, you will absolutely for sure not get anywhere doing it the way that you've done it. And you will absolutely for sure not solve the problem by sitting there avoiding making the decision. So again, whether it's me or someone else, reach out, schedule a conversation with that person. Say, hey, can I ask you some questions? Ask the questions that you need to kind of clear out. I'm not telling you to jump without checking anything out and just like handing your money to some rando on social media, but ask a few questions. Look at their website or their social media page for some before and after, some evidence of people that they have helped. Look for evidence of how they live their life, because you don't want to hire a mentor or a coach or do anything with anyone who hasn't already faced the challenges that you are facing and overcome them. That's why it always blows my mind when women in their 50s hire a 28-year-old coach or mentor, or women in their 50s hire a man as a mentor, a 30-year-old man. What the hell does he know about menopause? He can study in a book, but he has not faced it and he has not overcome it himself. And neither has, God bless the 28 and 30-year-old coaches and mentors out there, but they haven't faced what you're facing. So look for those two things. What is the evidence of how they've helped other people with the same kind of struggle and challenge that you're dealing with? And what is the evidence of their own journey in overcoming what they're going to help you overcome? Those two things together, ask a few questions, and then, make a decision and do something. You don't have anything to lose at all. In fact, you have a ton to gain. No matter which way it goes for you, you will be that much farther ahead on this journey than if you sit and continue to do nothing. So there's my Lori lecture for today. I really didn't mean for it to turn into a Lori lecture, but I hope this is helpful to you. I really hate to see women week after week, month after month, year after year, just stay stagnant, uncomfortable, and unhappy. It does not have to be that way. And you have the power to choose to make it different. Thanks for spending time with me today, and I will see you right back here next time.